What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with RFTools. Today, guys, we are going to be setting up the Quarry, but it's actually not called a Quarry. It's actually called the Builder, which is an extremely versatile block. You can use it for a ton of different things, and eventually we'll cover pretty much all the different things you can do with it, but its function is going to be determined by different cards you put into it. And so we're going to be using the Quarry card today, of which there are a ton of different kinds that basically function like different enchants you could put on a pickaxe. We're not going to cover any of those today because I don't really feel like investing the resources if I even had them, but you don't really need to worry about putting those in if you want to, because they don't change much about how you're actually going to set it up. And that is the nice thing about this system. It's actually very, very simple to set up, but you can customize it a ton. So today's video should be actually pretty quick, pretty useful, and in my opinion, pretty fun, because it means that any other video that we're going to be setting up down the line is going to require a ton less work for me because I don't actually have to go mining. And I went and did a bunch of caving to get us some resources. I had to find some ender pearls. I had to get some diamonds because we have to craft diamond tools. It kind of killed me a little bit on the inside because we do need to use 2 diamond tools, a diamond pickaxe and a diamond shovel, and this diamond pickaxe we only used to mine obsidian, but we need to have a non-broken one to do the craft, so it kind of killed me inside looking at this one that's basically been used like 11 or 12 times, but we can't actually use it for this. So I think we're just going to take this out right now, and we're going to start using it because my iron pickaxe is about to break. A little fun thing to talk about too is apparently there's a mob spawner right near the base. I realized this because I was doing some caving in case we ever want to set up like a mob farm or something. So I thought, you know what, we'll go down and we'll start lighting stuff up extra early. And I found, I only got one chest, so that's why we have the random armor and we got the music disc and stuff, but I don't think I marked it. There is a cave system out here. I can probably find it if I run around real quick. This kind of cave system down here is where I've been doing all my mining. And if you go down in one of these, it's somewhere down here. I think it's, no, so it's not down here. It's in one of these. It's lit up. And of course it's about to be nighttime. So I'm just going to go back to the base. But it is a zombie spawner. I only ran into one baby zombie when I was there. So it didn't matter that I didn't have any gear, any weapons, but yeah, just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an update, but we can jump into things now. We're actually going to be using this storage module over here to do the crafting now, because we have a couple things we need to craft that are sort of extensive. But first, we're going to start off with just doing some generic crafting. I believe we should just be able to do it here. So we can craft the diamond pickaxe, and can we just click craft one? Oh, so we can. So we can click craft one in there. And then I believe we need to make the shovel. I think if we look up here, we can look through these. So yeah, we're going to need the shovel. So the only thing is, how do we get rid of this? Do we just have to click it off? That is something I don't know, because that's craft to stack. I don't know if there's a clear button for this. Either way, though, we can go and craft the last piece that we're going to need for this, if I could actually click properly. So we are going to craft our diamond shovel, craft one. And then if we click this in here, we should be able to go, and if we craft this first, which is going to be the shape card, and this is kind of what you're going to start off with for all of the different cards that you're going to be putting into your quarry, because it's going to determine what they do. We're going to craft that. Not super expensive. I did have to go find some sugarcane to get some paper, but we're using that for a couple different things today, so it's no issue. And we need a lot of stone bricks, but everything else I already had. So we're going to craft one of these. And then we're going to go over and we're going to craft the actual quarry card itself, which is pretty easy to do other than the fact that you need some diamonds, but nothing too crazy. So this is the shape card quarry, and this is what you would upgrade later on. If I look over here, if we search up quarry, you can see there's a couple different cards. So we start off with a shape card quarry, and then you have the silk quarry, fortune quarry, clearing silk quarry, and clearing fortune quarry. So there's a couple different ones that you can have, and you can craft these, but I'm not going to worry about those today. I believe if you're playing in a mod pack, your best bet is probably the silk quarry, because you'll have some form of ore processing. For us, I think it's probably going to be the fortune quarry if we set one of these up in a different dimension. But again, I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So we're going to craft one of these, and now we have the most critical part to all of this. So what we need to make now is just going to be the typical single machine frame. So we're going to craft that. And I am missing lapis. I swear I went and got extra lapis. What the heck? Where did it all go? I swear I went, is that, oh my gosh, I think I used up the lapis that I was going to craft this with. to make the wrench. I think I went and got enough. Okay, well, I will be right back. I'm gonna have to go do some caving and get some extra lapis because I thought I had enough, and then I went and crafted the wrench so that we could actually flip the inputs on the power today. So I will be right back. Okay guys, so we are back. It did not take long for me to go find lapis. The nice thing about that cave system is it actually goes really deep. There's just one of those huge holes that you can drop down eventually after you go horizontal for a while, and that led me all the way down to get some redstone, get some lapis, which has been actually really useful. So rush down, grab some of that, and now we should be good to craft the rest of this. So we can craft the machine frame, and then lastly we can craft the builder, but I believe I need to finish crafting the bricks right now into actual, I think we need 4 of them. So let's do that. And then I think that's everything that we need for this whole setup. So we can craft one of these. And then I did do a little bit of crafting beforehand, which is basically just the chest and a lever. So I think that's everything that we're going to need for now. You could have a power supply setup that goes along with this if you wanted to put it somewhere else that's not currently in your base. If you're playing with different mods, you could wire power over. But for us, you can actually put it directly in your base. And the reason you can get away with that is because, well, and I'll show you in a bit, is the Quarry card allows you to set it up so that you can offset where you want the quarry to be centered. And so it's normally centered directly on the block, and you can change the dimensions and where it's centered and everything. So you can basically just keep moving it further and further away from your base, and you never have to leave your base. I don't know if there's a max on how far you can set it, but you should pretty much never run into that issue if you're using moderate sized quarries. So there's actually a lot of perks to using this whole thing that I'll go over, but that's one of them. So we're going to be keeping it in the base. So all we really need for the time being is a lever to switch it on or off, and then the chest where we're actually going to have all the outputs put in. And then, of course, like I said, we have our power source, which is just our simple beginning, power generation method of using coal, which is obviously not the best, but it'll be enough for the time being. And then we do need to set this to, I believe everything right now is set to in. So all sides are set to accept energy, and then we can flip that so it becomes orange. And then I believe if we flip it once more, yeah, it's nothing. So that should be giving off power now. And so we're going to set up the builder right over here, and got the achievement for that. So this should now be getting power. It's got a really big internal buffer, so we can throw some coal back in here and we won't be wasting any. And then you can see that it has a little thing that says mode, space card copy. So that's not what we're going to be doing. We are actually going to be putting in a card for it, the shape card Quarry. But first we'll put the chest on top of it right here, which is where everything's going to go. And the reason we only need a chest is because we will be able to make sure certain things are voided. So all the waste blocks we can easily void. Another huge quality of life that comes along with this that I'll talk about in a second. And then we're just going to put a lever on the available side so we can toggle it on and off because it's got redstone modes on it. Now you don't really need that, but you can do it. So then we are going to, I guess the next step would be for us to set up the shape card. So we are going to shift right click, and we can select, you can actually, physically select the corners that you would like this to be in. So you can select the first corner and then the second corner. So if I wanted to, I could come out here and I could say, make this the first corner and make this the second corner. You don't need to worry about where you put them. You can reset it completely, but if you'd like to have a physical representation of it and see where in your world, if you want to clear a certain area and you say, okay, I want to start here and go there, you can do that. But we're going to use it in more of the opening up the UI sense and kind of evaluating it from there. So what we can do is, let me see, right click when you don't have a block that you're actually selecting, and you have the option to change between the ton of shapes. Left clicking will make you go forward, right clicking will make you go back. So you can go dome, bottom dome, sphere, cylinder, capped cylinder. We're going to go with box, and we're going to go with solid. You could do hollow, solid, and it'll show you the number of blocks you're mining. And for us, the next thing is going to be the dimensions. So it's X, Y, and Z. And so you can see that the way we selected it, it has the shape right here. So it's going to be 3 in the X direction, 1 in the Y direction, and 4 in the Z direction. So it just gives us this little box that you can rotate. And then you can see that it's offset based on, I believe, the builder being the center. So that was something that confused me, is because the builder is supposed to be the center, but here you have the option to set the builder at different corners. So I'm not exactly sure what this necessarily means. Maybe it's overridden by it, but I believe it is. So the builder is supposed to be at the center. So for us, let's say we want a 64 by 64, and then we want it to go down let's say 200. That seems excessive. Let's say 100. Normally I would do 200 if we were higher up, but we're not going to be above where it would need over 100 blocks. So now you need to think about that being at the center. So if we want it to go all the way down and it's 100, then I believe it should be offset by minus 50. And then this should be offset again if it's at the center. If we want it to be directly at the corner, we could offset it by 32. But I think what we want is for it to be moved out a little bit further, and eventually I'll mark where it is, but I don't want it to be directly at the base. So something I have to look at is where we are. So in this axis, we are moving on the Z. So no, we're moving on the X. So I want it to be out here so it can be offset in the negative X direction. So I believe this should work. So let's offset it in the X direction by negative, let's do 35. No, let's do 40. Because 32 will make it so that it is basically right at the edge of the quarry. So this will put it a little bit away from our house. And then maybe we put this negative, because this is a Z-axis, so this will be moving this way. So if we move it negative, it'll go this way. So let's do maybe negative, let's do negative 5. So if this gets messed up, you just have to keep in mind that it could destroy everything you love. So it could destroy your base, it could destroy, everything. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we'll go over that in a bit. But the next thing, the really nice thing, and I don't know why it's popping up in the weird corner of my screen. If you see in the top left, it's popping the text up there. But we have the option to void all these different blocks that we don't want. And of course, some of them are stupid. We're not going to void netherrack. We're not going to void endstone. We're not going to get stone because we're not using fortune. But these 3 blocks right here are really nice. We don't want cobble, we don't want dirt, and we don't want gravel because we don't have the ability to store those right now. So voiding them makes our lives a ton easier. And so we'll only be getting ore and things that we actually want. And so we can keep our storage smaller. So I'm going to click void everything and then enable ore dictionary matching. I'm just going to check that because you guys should check that if you're playing in a mod pack or something to make it easier for storage. Doesn't really matter to me because I only have 1 mod in here and it's not even going to affect the ores. But yeah, so we'll check that and now everything should be good to go. So we've got this nice sort of rectangle right here that we're going to be working with. And then all we have to do is right click on it and it will install the module. And it says mode, normal quarry, which is really cool. It's got full power. And something that we can look at is a couple of these different settings over here. So you can see that it is no longer selected that the builder will be at one of the corners. And then you can see that there's a couple different options. So moving blocks makes a sound, doesn't matter. But this one should be that the support/preview mode is enabled. So this doesn't always work really well from what I've noticed, especially with bigger areas. But it should be, oh no, I did it wrong. So this is what's important. So you can see that this area is highlighting what's going to be mined out. And so I clearly said it incorrect because I must have messed up. Maybe those values needed to be positive. I was hoping it would mine over here. So I guess I messed up when I said the offsetting in the X direction. Maybe those should have been positive when they were negative, or they were negative when they should have been positive. So the dimension, so it's offsetting in the X direction, negative 40. So it should be offsetting minus 40. What? So it should be offsetting it over there. Okay, well, we're going to flip it. That is why you always turn that on, though. Always why you turn that on. So let's try setting this to a positive 40. So offset in the X direction, positive 40, and offset there, 5. Okay, let's check it now. So just turn this off, let it reset. Okay, so now it reset. So I guess it doesn't necessarily follow that rule, but you can see that this is where the cutoff line is. And if you break one of these blocks, you can actually punch these, but if you turn it off and flick it back on again, it will reset them. So it's a little bit buggy in that it won't highlight if there's a block there, but you can see it's going to mine out this area, and it should go pretty far in that direction too, which is good. And we'll be able to see eventually where it mines out because everything will be voided. But yeah, so it's going to mine. That looks really small for a 64 by 64. Oh well. So we can actually start running it, and it's really fast if it's supplied with sufficient power. So if we come in here, everything should be good to go. We can turn off the preview, and you can see there's a couple other options. Do a single run and stop, no highlighting, entities are not moved. So we do want to do a single run and stop because it's going to get everything. We don't want highlighting. Highlight, why does that look wrong to me? That's like hi, like hello lighting. Interesting. Okay, that's a typo. We don't care if entities are moved, and it should wait on the current position if it's not possible. So we should be good to go. So we can flip this lever, and you can see it'll tell us the Y level, the chunk that it's in, and everything it's going through. So is it mining stuff? Not enough power, as I suspected. Okay, so yeah, it's going, whoa. That went really fast. Does it not mine those blocks? Interesting. I thought it would clear out these blocks. Wait. Interesting. Is it replacing everything with dirt to prevent lag or something? Oh my gosh, I think that's what it's doing. I think it goes down the entire chunk. Okay. I think it goes down the entire chunk and it replaces everything with dirt to prevent lag. That's awesome. Okay, so you can see that it's functioning. We clearly do not have enough power, but you can see we've already gotten 12 iron ore. So it's going down, and I guess that's why it says the Y level, and then chunk, 0 out of 25. So instead of going top layer, next layer, it'll go by chunk, and it replaces everything with dirt, which is why that's fresh dirt over there, which is really, really nice because you'll still be able to tell where has been mined, and that's great, but it won't create lag because typically, if you don't already know, a huge issue with lag, especially on servers, is that if you're using a quarry or a pump or something, if you mine out a huge area or you drain a huge area, there goes from being a ton of still liquid to a ton of moving liquid. And so if you do a quarry and it goes level by level and you mine out the actual blocks, eventually, let's say you're using a Buildcraft quarry, eventually a fluid could flow from one corner all the way down to the filling up essentially the entire thing. It'll go diagonally until it hits the far wall, and then it'll fill up the entire thing because it's going so slow that each level allows it to spread out. And then you have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of flowing blocks of water that cause lag. And so this is a cool way to actually try and prevent that if you're on a server. So this is definitely a very nice one to use. And as you saw with the offsetting, we never have to leave the base. I could just offset it another 64 and it will mine the perfectly adjacent area next to it, and you can just keep going. So I think next episode we may work on getting a little bit more power for this so that it can keep running, but for the time being, it should just continue functioning at a very slow rate, and we always have the option to turn it off if we want to and allow it to get a little bit more power in the system, which is probably what I'll do. But I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I know it was sort of a simple video, but I know this is probably one of the more useful things, especially early game with RFTools, and it's really something that I wanted to get out of the way. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that I hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving. I know it's been a little bit since I uploaded a video. If you guys follow me on Twitter, which I recommended a while back, and a lot of you did, you would have known that I actually went home. I had the entire week off, so I went home on like the Friday before the weekend, and I didn't come back to school until this past Monday. But I went home and I did not have my desktop. I had a laptop to do some schoolwork on, but other than that, I did not have access to uploading any YouTube videos, unfortunately. So I was kind of on hiatus for about almost 2 weeks, where I couldn't even upload if I wanted to. I couldn't record anything, couldn't play anything. So yeah, again, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description because I post all my updates there and everyone finds out first if they follow me there. But yeah, I just want to say I hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving and, you know, got to have a nice food coma with all the turkey and stuffing and all that great stuff. Personal favorite food. I don't know if this is a staple Thanksgiving food, but my family always does mashed sweet potatoes, like this really nice brown sugar, cinnamon mashed sweet potato recipe, and that is by far my favorite. I could eat an entire plate of that and nothing else. So if you guys want to let me know if you had a nice Thanksgiving in the comments, that would be awesome because I love hearing about stuff like that. And yeah, it's going to be it for today, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later.
Standing in a glass bowl at the end of a black hole, cold, lost and upside down. Faces swirling past me, all my memories rolling vastly.